Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you are. My name is Vinish, and I'm part of the Arcserve product marketing team. In the next several minutes, I expect to take you through an informative journey on why protecting SaaS data is important and how Arcserve is best positioned to serve your SaaS application data protection needs. Please submit your queries in the box and I'll answer them when I finish sharing contents. As you look at the forecasts and numbers courtesy Zapier, I'd like to draw your attention to SaaS apps that you use. Your email client most likely is a SaaS application like Gmail. You're probably using Microsoft 365's Excel, Word, or Teams applications for your collaboration or productivity needs. SaaS applications are everywhere, like you know, and they are a critical part of our daily lives. You connect to a cloud-based application over the internet and start being productive in minutes. You don't need to worry about server configurations, storage provisioning, network configurations, operating system deployments, application installations, patching, upgrades, and more. SaaS applications have saved a lot of time and money, a key reason for their explosive growth and adoption. People who use SaaS applications are under the impression that the SaaS vendor would take care of everything. After all, the data is in their data centers, and isn't that the whole deal, right, about SaaS? Enjoy the application benefits, structure the application to cater to business needs, pay the subscription, and that's it. Well, let's see if that's the case. So as you could have imagined, we're all well aware of responsibilities in a traditional model or an on-premises model, because the customer has complete responsibility or almost 100% responsibility to manage the infrastructure, secure it, and protect it. It isn't that evident in a SaaS delivery model because we think of a SaaS application like how you access a web page over the internet. Well, we know the differences, but when we are in the midst of several business critical activities, who is going to think about how SaaS works and what sort of obligations we have as users? It turns out that SaaS vendors operate in a model called the shared responsibility model. Now let's look at a few scenarios and see how these obligations apply to the vendor and how obligations apply to the customers. So consider a scenario where the application is not functioning as expected. It is slow, doesn't work, intermittent issues, whatever. Who is responsible for this? Quite clearly, it is the SaaS vendor's obligation to fix it and ensure that the application rendering or the functioning is delivered as expected. Another scenario would be there's a new security vulnerability announced. Typically, there's a rush to make sure that the systems and applications are all patched and fixes are put in place so that the vulnerability, ransomware, malicious users or ransomware attackers do not leverage it. But whose responsibility is it? It is the SaaS provider's responsibility to patch their systems and their applications, right? They need to take immediate action, and it's their responsibility. It is not the customer's responsibility to patch or do anything like that. Okay, let's see another scenario. There's an end user access provisioning and management. Okay, here it gets slightly trickier. This is where the shared responsibility model comes into picture. Now, who owns what? The SaaS vendor's obligation is to ensure that they offer security controls and other abilities that would allow customers to manage their users' access needs and others effectively, right? To provide that platform, if you will. That's a vendor obligation. Now, the customer's obligation is to make sure that the right users have access to the application and associated data. Now let's look at a final scenario. A ransomware attack has corrupted data, it has encrypted data, or a user has accidentally deleted data. Now who owns what? SaaS vendor obligation here is to just make sure that the systems are available, right? There are systems and processes that will allow customers to protect their data, but it is completely the customer's obligation to make sure that the data is being backed up so that they can restore it back in such a scenario, so that businesses relying on this data can continue without disruptions. So I'm guessing you see how the obligations vary between scenarios, and this is a key difference, and this is why most vendors talk about the shared responsibility model. At this stage, I'm pretty sure you agree with me and you follow me that yes, the SaaS vendor is not responsible for everything, and it is a shared responsibility between the provider and the customer. Importantly, it is the customer's obligation to protect the SaaS application data and not the vendors. By a customer, it means an end user who is responsible for managing, protecting, and securing their organization's digital assets stored in the SaaS app cloud, or a managed service provider who serves multiple customers and uses the SaaS application to offer its services. In which case it is the MSP's obligation to manage, secure, and protect their customers' data stored in the SaaS cloud. You'll find excellent details on the web if you'd like to know how different vendors deal with a shared responsibility model. But let's look at what Microsoft suggests in its model. Clearly, Microsoft has done a fantastic job with its SaaS offerings. And it makes sense to understand the shared responsibility model from their view. The key takeaway on this slide is spelled out very clearly. You, as an end user or an MSP, are responsible for protecting, securing, and managing the data stored in the Microsoft SaaS cloud. They also make this clear in the Microsoft Services Agreement. I do not have that snapshot here, but they make it very clear in their Microsoft Services Agreement, where in section 6B, if you recollect right, they recommend customers to regularly back up their digital assets. Here's a quick snapshot to give you a view of what some of the largest companies in the world have to say about managing, securing, and protecting your data. They clearly indicate that it is the customer's obligation to manage, secure, and protect data stored in their respective SaaS application clouds. Now that we have discussed about the shared responsibility model and understand that protecting, managing, and securing data is a customer obligation, let's see what are some cases where data loss can occur. A report from the Enterprise Strategy Group, commissioned by Keep It, has several pertinent details. While it has several useful information around SaaS data protection, the one that you see on the screen provides a glimpse of the many causes owing to which there could be data loss. Service outage, unavailability causing data destruction or corruption, followed by accidental deletion and external malicious deletion, appear to be the top causes. If you'd like to make a simple categorization, then you have at least two major ones. One is an internal threat and another is external threat. Internal threats, think of it like human errors, accidentally deleting or overwriting files or folders or other objects. Or it could be a disgruntled employee having access to critical systems. The SaaS app would have no clue if the user he's happy with the organization or has a malicious intent. So a disgruntled employee can delete and modify data if they have the right levels of access or can gain the needed access. And of course, in terms of external threats, you can imagine Cyber attacks, quite clearly, we're all aware of that. Ransomware attacks, to be more specific, can cause havoc. Here's a Gartner forecast for your view. The important takeaway from reports like this is that SaaS data needs protection, and it is not immune to data loss. You will lose SaaS data if your data resilience strategy does not include protection for SaaS workloads. SalesforceBen.com analyzes a survey report to provide insightful details on ransomware attacks and SaaS data. A surprising detail from the analysis indicates the likelihood of a ransomware attack succeeding in a SaaS environment as opposed to other environments. The depiction on the left has 52% of ransomware attacks on SaaS data that have succeeded. Another piece of useful information on the right indicates that 50% of the surveyed participants mentioned couldn't recover all their data, probably because a proper backup strategy wasn't in place or for some other reason. For those of you who have known us, please pardon me for this call out. Just wanted to emphasize who we are. Arcserve has been delivering solutions longer than most players in the market. And as you can see, we started sometime in 1983. We have nearly 40 years' experience offering best-in-class solutions. We serve over 250,000 customers in 150 plus countries. Arcserve is a global top 5 data protection vendor and unified data resilience platform provider. Arcserve has the right product width and depth to solve technical and business use cases. The complete technical stack needed by any sector to protect their data comes from one vendor as opposed to 5 or 6 vendors that would be needed to handle all of the challenges we talked earlier, right from backing up files directly to cloud, or immutable storage on premises, or dedicated SaaS backup protection, or providing complex high availability solutions for enterprise applications. Arcserve has all of it under its umbrella. So here is a single vendor, a unified data resilience platform provider, offering the right solution to protect entire environments on premises and in the cloud from data loss and ransomware with integrated cybersecurity. We are pleased to introduce Arcserve SaaS Backup that we strongly believe will comprehensively solve your SaaS application data protection needs. Crafted for SaaS application data protection and born in the cloud, Arcserve SaaS Backup is a true cloud-to-cloud backup. SaaS application data may not be a lot different from the others, but when you're protecting SaaS data, you will need a system that knows how to deal with it. For instance, backing up just the data and ignoring the metadata could make the backup useless. Arcserve SaaS Backup is a dedicated solution. It's dedicated to the protection of SaaS application digital assets, so you can be assured that you're dealing with a system that knows the SaaS application that it is protecting. We'll dive deeper in the upcoming slides, but what makes Arcserve SaaS Backup stand out is that it is secure by design, highly available from a system perspective or from a data availability perspective, and importantly, can scale millions of users with consistent performance at scale. Let's look at some key features that will help you get a view of why we think that Arcserve SaaS Backup is a perfect fit to protect your SaaS application data. Arcserve SaaS Backup is secure by design. I'm sure you'd agree with me why this is very important. The design uses a blockchain-like Merkle tree architecture that offers strong consistency checks. Arcserve SaaS Backups ensures, backups are immutable. This means SaaS application data backups cannot be altered. When a data recovery is needed, you can be assured that an unaltered copy of the data is available for use. With this capability, Arcserve SaaS Backup offers complete logical air gapping. Data in transit is encrypted, and immediately upon arrival into the system is encrypted before it is written on the storage media. Ransomware attacks can try deleting SaaS data, or it could be a disgruntled user. Arcserve SaaS backup ensures that there is no easy way for deletions by retaining data for at least 30 days, by which time action can be taken. So this offers a good first line of defense. Arcserve SaaS backup guarantees data sovereignty by making sure that the data stays in the region chosen by the customer, never leaves that region. There are no processes that exist to transfer the backup data out of the selected region, outside of customer-initiated restores and downloads, etc. Dual data center redundancy with backup data copied into two separate data center facilities within the chosen region. So you have four backup copies to be more precise, in two data centers within the same region. High availability with multiple copies of backups as recommended by industry experts. Most cost-effective solution. Why do I say that? Unlimited storage and unlimited retention of backups with a per user pricing. So customers get unlimited retention of their backups through the life of the subscription. Until the subscription is active, this would apply. There is limitless data storage in an online cloud tier. Why is this important? This helps in fast access and recovery. Imagine storing data in a warm tier, or even worse, in a cold tier, right? Because of cost, if you put that into a cold tier, it would cost so much of exercises to just bring the data back from the cold tier to a storage tier from where data can be easily accessed. All of that is eliminated, right? So you have data stored in an online cloud tier. That makes sure you get fast access and restores are super fast. And importantly, no additional charges for data traffic, ingress, egress, or transaction fees. I'm pretty sure by this stage you're appreciating why I mentioned confidently about why this is the most cost-effective solution. It's just a per seat based licensing, and you get a ton of benefits like we talked about. And of course, there's broad and extensive coverage. The best-in-class protection for Microsoft 365 and other SaaS applications. And we'll look at it in a little more detail in the upcoming slides. Very quick setup that causes a connector-based scheme that takes less than 5 minutes typically for initial setup. A seamless update process avoids the need for stopping active jobs, which eliminates worries around potential job failures. The preview feature is a strong differentiator, as it saves tons of time by allowing users to preview the objects that they desire to restore, avoiding incorrect data restores. That coupled with a smart search option makes this a very handy feature during an urgent restore operation. Tamper-proof cloud infrastructure runs on software that is designed and built for SaaS data protection. Infrastructure designed to provide fast and reliable backup at a reasonable cost. A key component that offers brilliant functions such as data immutability that protects backup data sets. A double click on the broad coverage we talked about earlier. Arcserve SaaS Backup does an excellent job supporting all of the popular SaaS applications with focus to keep adding to the list. This is an important aspect when choosing a solution, given the SaaS applications landscape and an increased customer adoption. A backup solution needs to be able to quickly support new apps so SaaS application data can stay protected and secure. Here on the screen is a list of all the popular SaaS applications we currently support. Microsoft 365, Salesforce, Microsoft Azure AD, Google Workspace, and Microsoft Dynamics 365 are all supported. We expect to include support for Zendesk, Power BI, and Azure DevOps sometime Q2 of current year 2023. We also expect to offer advanced coverage for Azure AD sometime during the same timeline, which is Q2 of current year 2023. I'm hoping you'd appreciate the fact that any timelines, feature details, etc., will be treated like any other roadmap item until it is generally available. Microsoft 365. A report by Office 365 IT Pros indicates that the Microsoft 365 has a paid seat number that's just slightly below the 400 million mark, like maybe 385 million or so. The Teams figure is at 280 million active users monthly. So according to expert reports, Microsoft 365's market share was 47.9% as of 2022. Now, the reason I state all those numbers and facts, data, not facts, but details, is that should tell you this is probably at this stage you probably follow why Microsoft has become so popular, right? Those numbers translate to the fast adoption of Microsoft 365. And most of us are using it almost on a daily basis. This is a scary view from a report that suggests 145,000 KPMG users losing their personal chat histories because of an inadvertent deletion. Notice Microsoft's position on data recoverability. This is why it is extremely important to use a backup solution that can comprehensively back up all of your M365 digital assets. What you see on the screen is a comprehensive list of coverage for Microsoft 365. Applications like Teams are not easy to back up, because data isn't necessarily a part of Teams. So it needs an expert solution like Arcserve SaaS backup that can completely back up all the needed data and metadata. So users can easily recover, say, Teams chat or any other objects when in need. A variety of recovery options makes it easy for users to get their data back, be it the ability to restore data to its original location, or perform a PST download, or when there is a need to migrate a specific user's content to another user. All of it is covered comprehensively. Microsoft Azure Active Directory. Why should anyone care to protect? Like most of you already know, Microsoft Azure AD is a cloud-based identity as a service solution that offers identity and access management services. Using Azure AD, companies can easily manage access to all resources within the company or outside and across on-premises and cloud environments. Azure AD is the core of Microsoft's ecosystem with numerous applications and services actively connected to it. Microsoft says more than 15 million companies use Azure AD when they subscribe to Microsoft cloud services such as Microsoft 365, Microsoft Azure, and others. So its substantial benefits and connectivity make Azure AD a preferred target for ransomware attackers, or disgruntled employees know exactly how to paralyze a business operation by making changes to the existing Azure AD configurations. So here's what a Carlsbad company had to endure when its accounts were hacked and deleted. 1,200 of 1,500 Microsoft 365 user accounts were deleted. Company was shut down entirely for 2 days, no operations. There were internal and external threats quite clearly. Customers weren't able to reach the employees and vice versa. Employees couldn't access their collaboration systems and productivity systems like emails, meetings, calendars, or other data. I'll let you read what the VP of IT had to say while working to resolve this issue. Quite sad. An organization's data resilience strategy must accommodate Azure AD protection from ransomware attacks, disgruntled employees, and unplanned outages. Arcserve SaaS Backup provides extensive coverage to backup Microsoft 365 Azure Active Directory metadata. Metadata consists of licenses, relationships, authentication methods, and attributes of objects such as users, groups, and others you see on the screen. Functionalities like the difference reporting across backup snapshots help compare object deletions or changes. Allowing customers to roll back is a critical functionality, and Arcserve SaaS Backup offers it. And it is free with any paid subscription. Contact a representative at Arcserve for more details. Salesforce is one of the first things that comes to mind when we talk about SaaS and how it started to revolutionize the landscape. Salesforce is a platform that offers a wide range of CRM capabilities to its customers, along with the ability to integrate with several systems such as ERP, product management, billing, and others, based on customer needs. Hannah Anderson is a children's clothing retailer with a large online presence. Hannah used Salesforce, and when the platform got infected, cybercriminals could exfiltrate payment info, shipping, and other critical data. Law enforcement identified the breach and notified Hannah Anderson. Now, the case in point is Salesforce data can be lost due to a variety of reasons, including ransomware attacks and malicious users damaging data. Cybercriminals know that Salesforce holds information critical to the operations of a business, and they could potentially use ransomware attacks to paralyze operations. Again, disgruntled employees, it's very important, right? We can't just think about external threats. There could be disgruntled employees or malicious users within the system. In Salesforce, who could access the system and could cause irreparable damage by destroying data. Then there are the errors, due to inadvertent record updates, changes, human introduced errors. Typically, it's often mistakenly. This could cause, however, this could cause data overwrites or other such damages that could render data unusable. Then there is integration-related operations that could cause serious corruption. A component within the interface or the interface itself, part of the integration, could introduce corruption, or some component within that configuration could crash, which means the data flow would be interrupted, therefore causing issues to data. And I'm sure you would have heard this elsewhere as well. There is due to errors due to bulk data update or massive migrations. There's a lot of issues that happen because of it, because it usually comes down to the quantity of data. When the quantity is high, sometimes the checks are not as adequate as we would like it to, so those cause issues. So with all of this, typically I'm hoping you would acknowledge the fact that there is a need for protection. Salesforce storage has two main categories: file storage and data storage. Both need to be protected. Arcserve SaaS Backup offers comprehensive coverage for data and metadata needed during a recovery option. Again, please don't feel that we're running out of time. If you are looking at the objects here, there are data sheets and other helpful material. Do let us know. We'll be more than happy to provide you a supporting document using which you can get a complete understanding of what is supported. So Arcserve SaaS Backup is designed for SaaS data protection. We talked about it, right? It is a perfect fit for any organization of any size using Salesforce for its CRM needs. Comprehensive coverage of data and metadata combined with critical capabilities for SaaS data protection such as immutable copies, redundant backups, and secure by design, make it a perfect fit for any organization that has Salesforce deployments needing secure and efficient SFTC data protection. Importantly, it is the most cost-effective solution with a single price per seat that includes all functionalities, while offering organizations unlimited retention of their backups to the life of their subscription. We talked about it earlier, limitless data storage in an online cloud tier, no fees, transaction fees or ingress or egress fees. Quite clearly, that makes it a most cost-effective solution. Arcserve SaaS Backup is a cloud-native solution, with full knowledge of what is needed to protect SaaS applications. So when you build applications and designs, I'm pretty sure you are aware of this. There are certain conditions for the architecture to behave differently when it comes to workloads. If you take SaaS workloads, then your architecture, the product's architecture, needs to align completely with what it aims to protect. An Arcserve SaaS Backup is a dedicated application data protection solution. Its architecture directly and completely it focuses on protecting SaaS application data. Fits perfectly, when you're looking for a SaaS backup solution. It enables you to comprehensively protect SaaS workloads such as Microsoft 365, by ensuring that data is secure, data is highly available, and importantly, scales horizontally and vertically. So customers get consistent performance at scale, and with 4 copies of data within 2 data centers within the same region, customers can be assured data sovereignty and redundancy is satisfactorily met. SaaS Backup has an extensible architecture. Arcserve SaaS Backup, just to qualify it, this has an extensible architecture with the ability to offer instant access to protected objects data. And of course, like we talked about, backing up to a hot tier ensures this. Now let's look at a success story. Sentinel IT Services, based in the UK, is a managed service provider. They specialize in providing a variety of IT-related services to their customers and take data protection very seriously when it comes to their customer data. Sentinel focuses on protecting communication tools as it is a critical workload for their customer base. They're engaged in protecting Microsoft 365 digital assets. They found Arcserve SaaS Backup to be a perfect fit to solve their challenges around protecting Microsoft 365 data. I'll let you read the quote from Pete, but that's a wonderful piece of how a managed service provider finds the solution a perfect fit to solve the protection needs of their customers. All right, let's run a quick summary of the things that we talked about in chief. Begins with a comprehensive coverage for the most popular SaaS applications. We talked about it. We talked about what's supported today: Microsoft 365, Salesforce, Google Workspace, Microsoft Dynamics 365, importantly, Microsoft Azure Active Directory. And we also talked about some roadmap items, ones that are planned to be supported in the near term. And then we also talked about the cloud native SaaS solution, which is kind of, the core of it, if you will, from offering a dedicated solution. And that means a lot more than what I say, because when the architecture is focused on protecting a certain type of workload, then all of the features and enhancements are aligned with it. That's what makes Arcserve SaaS Backup a standout. And of course, there's automated backups, which is a great feature. And of course, it's a single pane of management with multi-tenant and RBAC support. So if you need flexible controls granular controls. The management plane offers this. You could configure multiple roles. And we talked about it, 4 copies of data and in two data centers within the same region. So there is a guarantee for the data sovereignty and high availability for the data. Very, very important is the secure by design architecture that offers immutable backups. We saw that a little bit previously, right? There is encryption, transit at rest, and a lot more, like the deletion protection for 30 days. The architecture is secure by design. The product and the offering is secure by design, which is again a huge differentiator. And it scales seamlessly, right, with consistent performance at scale. I'll close by summarizing the pillars that support the unified data resilience platform. Dedicated SaaS data protection, a solid recovery-oriented platform with multiple recovery options, comprehensive coverage of SaaS workloads, a ransomware resilient, secure by design solution, and finally, easily scalable. I'm sure you would agree with me that these critical attributes make Arcserve SaaS Backup a perfect solution for SaaS application data protection. You have been a fantastic audience, and I look forward to e-meeting you